couldn't get out of the second round.
Hi, Ian, as well.
Oh, Ian Eagles.
I'm more interested in my director, Andy Goldberg.
Oh, that's your director?
It's my director.
By the way, Ian, you don't have to wait while we talk Dodgers. You can come on the air if you like.
Yes, come on.
I'm not going to make you wait. While we break down the freaking Dodgers. And basically, I got to calm everybody down that the season isn't over yet. I mean, look, they're the favorites. I get that, but we got to stop crying. Society is so soft. Am I right, Ian? The great Ian Eagle is here. Nice to see you, sir. Of course, he is the voice of, to me, he's the voice of football. I dropped my phone. I lost it.
Oh, you don't need that.
I think he's the premier play-by-play voice. You're also, the voice of the Nets. Though, your son does a hell of a job, too, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
As does Ryan Rucco. But
very nice.
You're Ian Eagle.
Why don't you kiss everybody's ass while you're here?
I just got to ask, why are you hanging out with Andy today?
I just found him in the hallway.
So for guys who don't know, Andy Goldberg does the CBS directing of my football crew. He's my director on my crew. Yesterday we got a Steve McKee reference, and today we got an Andy Goldberg reference.
I'll mention Catalan. I'll just go through your entire
Well, they always get their love.
Are you going to kiss their asses, or should I kiss their asses?
No, but I should mention, before we get started here, I've been doing this a long time, obviously broadcasting, and for the first time in my career, I received a text that began a torrent of texts last week. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was unearthed on your show in particular, or if it had already gone viral, and I just wasn't aware of it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
But I got a text stating that Tiki and Evan claim you farted on television. And I was dumbfounded at first. I had no idea. And as Tiki can attest to, there are things that happen in your headset you have no idea.
It's true.
And it isn't until someone points it out. So to this moment, I'm not really sure. But I can assure you it was not me.
But we know it wasn't you, right, because you were talking.
I was.
And if
yeah.
you
were,
you could have, but it wouldn't have come through your mic if you were talking.
No.
So we were trying to speculate how it could have happened.
Have you heard the audio?
I have since, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to ask back at the shop. I don't know, Loogie, if you have to help Rosie.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think we need to.
You don't want to hear
it? No.
You don't want to hear it again?
I apparently lived through it and didn't know.
We did a careful examination of this about a week ago because it did sound like a very squeaky fart.
Like a Zapruder film, almost.
Yeah, we tried to break it down, and we did pretty much clear you of this.
Right.
Oh, good.
But we do think Charles Davis did.
I can't speak for CD. You know, he does eat some gassy food. So.
I mean, it happens. I hear about the food you get at these football stadiums.
Oh, they're pretty good sometimes.
Yeah, some are good. Some are really good.
Now, I want to dog this because Chris Russo is always big on schedules. You called a game over the weekend on the radio?
I did, yeah.
Which game did you call?
I was in Philly.
You were? Oh, that's easy. So Philly back here to Brooklyn?
I was in L.A. for Nets Clippers. I don't know if you...
That's right.
Did you watch that game?
I did for about 5 minutes.
No, he did not.
He did not.
He saw that the losing was happening.
No. In fairness, what happened that night is I passed out. Like
from what?
From living.
Oh,
like
life.
not even the game. Like I am still a psycho where I watch every game, but the West Coast really beat me hard.
Right. It's hard.
Because they aren't good. I mean, I'll throw that in there. I'm also tired. I got 2 kids on it.
Oh.
Like life gets in the way,
you?
bro.
And you were also sick last week, right?
And I was sick. I had COVID.
Oh.
I don't have COVID anymore. Don't worry.
What's going on here? What am I walking into
I didn't
on
even
this
know it
guest
still
spot?
existed.
Maybe we should go to Mario from Long Beach. I'm not sure I need to be in this general area right now.
So you did the Clipper game.
And the Laker game.
Yeah. Then you go to Philly. Now you're here for Nets-Knicks.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this about the Eagle game, because I'm very curious. I have a strong opinion on it. You are a broadcaster and an independent observer. Do you like games that are greatly affected by bad weather?
Oh, it's so interesting you say this. We were just talking about this coming upstairs.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you placating me?
I'm not placating you.
Okay, thank you.
It is tremendous for TV. It looks majestic.
Yeah.
It truly does. It does not make for the best football. And you wonder sometimes, obviously, Stafford was still effective, but lost the ball, lost the grip a couple of times.
Right, it's a brick. The ball is like a brick.
Yes, given normal circumstances, the Rams might be hosting the NFC Championship this week. Now, there'll never be an asterisk. We'll never question it. It is what it is. The score is what it is. But you make a great point. Under a different set of circumstances, we might be talking about a completely different matchup based on...
So now how do you do this when it's radio as opposed to television? Because television, you don't have to stop.
Yeah.
Get out of the way because the image itself is telling the story. But radio, how do you tell it? Because the Eagles game was interesting.
Yeah.
early in the game when first Jalen Hurts and then Saquon rips off that 62-yarder, the field is just the field.
Big time.
It's fine. Maybe it's flurrying a little bit, but by the fourth quarter touchdown that Saquon had, it's like a different world. So how do you describe that to an audience that's not in their mind's eye expecting it?
Yeah, you remind yourself to reset, to explain what is in front of you.
Right.
And there were a few times, it just happened to be on either big plays or scoring plays, where I did mention the winter wonderland, the snow-filled field, the slippery conditions. You just have to remind yourself, people aren't in it for the entire game. They're popping in their car. They have no idea. Some people didn't know it was even snowing.
Right.
So that's part of your job. It's a fun part of the job, to be perfectly honest, because on the radio side, it is up to you to set the visual and paint the picture. And I enjoy it. That's why I've kept doing it, and I've enjoyed the juggle. The other part is you can really relate to, Tiki. When you see more teams, you do feel like you have a better sense of the league. And with radio Thursday night, I end up seeing a bunch of teams that I may not see on the TV side.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm curious about, because you, unlike some people in the broadcast industry, Tom Brady, you get to interview and talk to people and be prepared for your broadcast. So I am curious, as a Jet fan that I am, Aaron Glenn, do you get the vibe from him that is going to be a guy who can take it from the coordinating level to the coaching level?
Look, this is an inexact science, as we know. There have been many coordinators who we thought, they're going to be great head coaches, and they get in the position, and they don't have that leadership ability. They don't have that natural skill set to understand the moment-to-moment dealing with players. Aaron Glenn strikes me as someone who does.
Right.
He really does have that feel of what's required, what buttons to push. The football acumen, you can't question. When you get to that level and you're coordinating a defense, that means you know your job. You know how to do that job. Do you have the other part of it? Can you lead, and do you have your finger on the pulse, what your team needs every single week? And we can go through every team and look at the head coaching hires that have been made, some that were excellent hires and some that didn't work out. If you're asking me my opinion on Aaron Glenn, my opinion is he's going to transition and do the job well.
You know why I trust you more than anybody? We had a conversation many years ago about Evan Turner, and I was convinced he was a franchise player. And you said, Evan, I've watched a lot of him in college. His shot is a little bit flat. You're getting too excited about him. It calmed me down. And while Evan Turner had a fine NBA career, I don't mean to pick on him, you were right. And from that moment on, I trust you.
Well, you can change
your
shot.
trust.
You know,
Well, he never did.
Mikal
Isn't
Bridges.
that sad that Evan Turner just caught a stray for no reason whatsoever?
What the heck was that?
No reason whatsoever. Who knew my credibility was based on Evan Turner and his pro
You
prospects?
built a trust in me.
I guess so.
I mean, I ask you questions now. I may not agree with you, but I'm like, you know what? I trust Iron Eagle. He comes from a good place. He knows. I mean, you've watched everything for 1,000,000 years.
All right, let's go to Tad in Wolcott, Connecticut. Tad, you're on the fan.
We are talking to the great Iron Eagle. Knicks tonight. He'll be calling the game on TNT. The Kansas City Chief phenomenon.
Yeah.
Do you
Did you have them this year?
Oh, yeah.
You had.
Yeah.
Did you have Detroit also?
I did have Detroit.
All right.
Yep.
He's seen it all.
He gets all the good games.
Listen, he's Iron Eagle, man. Do you get the vibe that a lot of fans have that, not that it's on purpose, but that the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes seem to get every single call?
I think last week was pretty egregious, so you could feel it going in that direction, that there was a backlash. And last week, 100% affected people's perceptions and the reality. Those were two questionable calls. There were a couple of calls in the Philadelphia game where they did not throw a flag, where I thought to myself,
They're just letting them play.
They're letting them play. And that is based often, to me, on a specific official. These are not the same crews. Tiki will tell you. They do an all-star crew. So you'll get your referee, but his crew is not a part of the crew. It's cherry-picked from different crews.
Right. The back judge is not the same. The
so
line judges,
communication
down
is a little
judges.
different. And when you do a little nod of nonverbal communication with a back judge or a side judge or a field judge, and there might be a knowing understanding of what the other believes, in that instance, there could be a hesitation.
Yeah.
There could be a referee that takes it upon themselves in that instance. So I don't try to go general in these situations, which I often think is what happens. Like, NFL officiating.
Right.
It's not that.
Save that for radio. That's what we do on this side. You can't do it in the real time of the game.
Yeah, and it was very specific to that crew and to that referee. In general, I do think he's gotten some beneficial. He's also learned how to work the system.
Oh, he has.
He's been great at it.
Yeah. Well, he slows down before he goes out of
does.
bounds, and so he just dares you to hit him. And you assume that he's going to run out of bounds, but you never know.
Correct.
You just never know.
Yep.
What's his name? Josh Allen did it a couple of years ago where he faked like he was going to slide. He was sitting down,
Yep.
and he kept running and
He's
ran
been
for a
very
touchdown.
good at it, too.
He's
Josh
been great at
figured
it.
out
And so
how to push the envelope.
The thing is, unless it's really egregious, like the Josh Allen one or some of these Patrick Mahomes ones, we forget them.
Yeah.
Like we move on, and the story becomes
For the most part.
the outcome of the game and whatever happens
Yeah.
next. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs have gotten away with being hated in the moment because the success is it's fulfilling to watch.
Yeah, they're a dynasty.
Exactly.
For what we now consider a dynasty in pro sports,
Oh, yeah.
they are it. To do this year in and year out, and we did talk about this earlier as well. I was downstairs. Aaron Harris, Nets PR man, Eli Pearlstein, who is part of the staff, big part of the staff. He's a huge Lions fan.
Right.
And our discussion was in regards to next year's schedule, how big a role that plays. The Lions have a killer schedule, and yet the Chiefs it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They find a way. I would tell you that the mystique is probably higher than it was a year ago. If you remember a year ago, everybody thought, Kansas City could be had.
Yeah.
The Raider game on Christmas changed everybody's perception. Yet, whatever you think the weaknesses are, nobody can seem to take advantage of it when it counts most.
That's why Sunday's going to be fascinating.
It is.
Josh Allen and the Bills get another crack at it.
Yeah.
And my gut feeling a few days out is they're not going to be able to crack the code either. It feels that way. Like it's almost they win every game by small amounts. I think they're 11-0 one-score games.
Yeah.
But they always find a way.
But Josh has also started to become like Pat Mahomes, meaning I'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
And that's the towel.
Problem
of Pat Mahomes.
solved.
He's a problem solver.
And then command of the moment.
Yes.
I think
Right.
there's a common thread there. Pat
without
Mahomes,
making the mistake.
Without making the huge mistake. And as we know in Josh's career, that was the issue.
Right, yeah.
We just looked at him and said, all right, at some point he's going to hand it to the other team. He's going to make a boneheaded throw, try to squeeze it in there. And he's not doing that anymore. And I also think Sean McDermott has recognized that he had to change a bit.
Right.
And he's not as necessarily locked in on every defensive play being as so intimately connected to the details and more alert on the offensive end and special teams, recognizing that he had to spread around his interest level and had to delegate a bit more, which he has done a much better job of.
We're talking to the great Iron Eagle. Which game are you calling on the radio, NFC or AFC?
Calling NFC.
Oh.
It is Washington and Philly. I'll be with Hall of Famer Kurt Warner on radio and Ross Tucker
Giant nightmare.
on the sidelines.
That's
He
a
will
giant
also
nightmare.
be breaking down the press food. That's a big part of what he does. He loves to break it
better
down.
be careful not
Ross
to
does?
cut the cheese.
Ross does.
Oh, that's amazing.
He breaks down the prey. He'll do a video. He's got a sponsor. He's not
that's
messing
fantastic.
around. Yeah, it's really good.
We were talking earlier about Jaden Daniels because I think a lot of Giant fans look at this and say, oh, my God, it could have been us.
Yep.
What's your feeling watching him play? And obviously he's got a chance to do something no one else has done, a rookie quarterback going to the Super Bowl.
Which I had to check my notes when I started writing that down in the early week prep. First rookie to start in the Super Bowl. You said, well, no. Didn't Ben do it? No. He did. Didn't Marino do it? No.
Nope.
Nobody.
Right. Nobody
has ever done it. Had him 2 times on TV, 1 time on the radio. The TV side, as Tiki will tell you, we get the opportunity to sit down and chat.
He's such a great kid.
My
too.
goodness.
He really is.
He is
and he's calm.
Legitimately the whole package.
Right. I was shocked at how in the moment he can be.
Completely.
For someone, and I guess maybe because it's LSU and you're playing with all these big-time players. I mean,
or that's just in you.
Or if to
And
me
I
it
tend to
feels
think
like
it's that.
it feels like it's just him.
He is really poised. He is mature beyond his years, and then he backs it up with his play.
Yeah.
He has been the best rookie quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah, it's amazing,
Right.
but you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get to what matters here. Let's break down the X's and O's. How do we slow down Karl Anthony Towns tonight? I mean, we need a victory. This arena needs a victory.
Do the Nets need a victory? Is that how you're doing it? Because I don't know anymore.
No, that is not how
what
he's
the fan base wants and what Evan Roberts wants.
Only because we're sitting right here in JetBlue at the Keys. He's talking about the Nets needing a victory.
I'm going to tell you the honest truth to that answer, okay? As one of the many people that watch your broadcast, I want to win certain games.
And this is one of those games?
Yeah, because they're the Knicks, and we also own their pick, too, by the way.
Right. And you're wearing Tommy's shirt.
Yes, I'm wearing the Tommy Lugauer Jalen Brunson shirt.
Right. But the shirt which I'll be selling out on the concourse in a little bit.
Yes, but in general,
I'll put a bid in.
But in general, I kind of want to lose because that's the nature of this sport. The NFL has the same problem, too. We've talked about it. I know the NBA has a lottery unlike the NFL, but it is not healthy that as a diehard fan, and you know I am, that most nights I'm like, yeah, I'm better off watching my team lose.
Yeah. It's a very odd mix of emotions because I get it. For the big picture, the team needs a high draft pick. But in the short term, when you're in it and you're watching these guys work hard and give everything they've got, and they have played hard. That's not been
Jordy's done a great job.
Jordy's done an excellent job. But for them individually, they have no idea if they're going to be with the Nets next year. They have no idea if they're going to get a chance to play in the NBA. So I get it from their perspective. They have to play and put good stuff on tape for other teams to look at. Nobody here is thinking about Cooper Flagg. There's not one player that's thinking about him.
No.
Legitimately, not
one.
You're
right, because that player replaces you.
Correct. So it's this very odd combination of what the fan base may want and need, what the team may deep down want, but the day-to-day doesn't back it up because you still practice your butt off, you still play hard, you still want to win and score and do all the things that you can do individually. It's just, you know what the end of the rainbow is. You need a high draft pick.
What I find weird about this, because I've said this to Tiki, who's not paying that much attention to the Nets, and I understand why, Jordy Fernandez comes across like someone who wants to win every single night. And you can't blame him. He's a competitor. But in the long run, he's better off losing because he's going to get to coach the player that they draft.
Well, unless he's a consequence of having a terrible season.
Well, that's it. You just hit on something. There's two things I would just add to it. One, I think Jordy is highly competitive, wants to set up a winning culture, and the only way to do that is to try to win.
Right.
You can't say, well, I want to set up a winning culture, but I don't want to start winning till next year. The second part is what Tiki just mentioned, and that is it goes on your permanent record. So 10 years from now, you don't look back and say, oh, remember 24-25 when a team was tanking and that coach who got fired potentially after 2 years or 3 years because the record just wasn't good enough to keep him. Well, he was just going along with what the plan was or what the orders were. He is competitive. That's how he got this job. I get it. Now, I do think some of the onus came off it because he proved very early he could coach.
I think he can coach, no doubt. That's one of the pluses. Can you do me a favor and read my T-shirt? This is an old Tommy Lugauer tweet.
Tommy Lugauer tweet, at Tommy Lugauer. Jalen Brunson is a good player. He's not great. This would be typical Knicks. Never ends. 9:46 p.m., June 23rd, 2022, from Earth, he received 15 likes.
15 likes, that's it. What is your IBO, Independent Basketball Observer, on that opinion upon the Knicks signing Jalen Brunson?
No, that would be a freezing cold take.
Yeah, it definitely is a freezing cold take. The question now is are there more comments than there are likes? Because nobody liked this. Nobody is saying, oh, that's right. Yes, Tommy, you're right. But I would gather most are saying, Tommy, what the hell is wrong with you? But you can't anti-like something.
That's true.
So it's like a like.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to like it. You're going to comment.
That's true.
So, Tommy, you got to go back and check.
You got to double check.
Tommy, let's check that.
I am curious. Are you surprised that Jalen Brunson, who we'll see tonight, probably lighting up the Nets for 40, which he seems to do a lot, are you surprised that Jalen Brunson, who was a nice player in Dallas,
yes,
he was a nice player, are you surprised he's come to this city, in this market, with this franchise, and done this?
I'm surprised at the level of dominance. I'm not surprised that he became a better player than he was in Dallas. It really was about opportunity.
Sure.
And I remember I had them in the playoffs that year, and we met with Jason Kidd prior to a playoff game when Brunson started going off and asked him, like, hey, how's this going to work out? How's this going to play out contract-wise? Because the rumor was they lowballed him, that Mark Cuban did offer him a deal, but it was not the money that they were looking for. And there was a number, if they hit it, he would have taken it. He was happy there, even though he was playing second fiddle. And Jason said, hey, I told him, it's all going to work out for you. Because either you're going to get paid somewhere else,
right,
or you're going to raise your number to a point where we're going to have to pay you. Ultimately, they didn't pay him. He got paid in New York. It ends up being a bargain in New York if you look at the year-by-year salary, but he got a chance to showcase his skills.
And
he's a tremendous leader.
And he's subsequently done another deal, and it's still team-friendly.
He's ready for the biggest deal, which will happen. So he did the deal early.
Yeah.
That I think then puts him in a category to get that big money. He's gonna
he'll
get the
paid.
jackpot.
Right, but part of it is also the environment that he came into.
Completely.
And Coach Thibodeau, who doesn't get enough credit for as good of a coach, because all of these guys have gotten better since they've been here. Josh Hart's gotten better. Dante before he got shipped out. I mean,
Even Cat's got. Yeah, I was going to say he's gotten better.
So much of it matters where you are, and I think, it's almost serendipity sometimes. You get traded.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen, but it creates this open pathway for you.
100%.
Because he was blocked in Dallas. Let's face it. He was never going to be the man.
And maybe he didn't even know that or see that.
Of course
because
not.
he liked his life. And
everybody tells you what you're
role.
going to be. Everybody tells you who you are. This is his limit. This is his ceiling. Until you break out of that and get on your own soapbox.
You know what's funny, though? Today, for some whatever reason, I stumbled upon some Villanova highlights of him. And it was a game that I happened to call, so I think that's why it popped up. And he was tremendous.
Yeah, no, he was.
But yet, nobody thought it would translate. Everyone's like, he's not going to be able to post up player. He's too small. He's not going to get those shots in the NBA. No, he's really strong, like a bull, and he's extremely confident in his skills. So all of it has played out the way that he could have possibly hoped, and probably better.
I have a very important question for you. Is there going to be a tribute video from Mikal Bridges tonight? Do you know the answer to this?
I do know the answer.
Okay. Let's do this very calmly. Ian, just break it to me gently.
No, there will not.
Really?
No.
Oh, I'm so happy.
That's my understanding. I'm not
I
part
feel so
of,
good.
Why are you
of
hating
the
on
arena operations, but there
Okay.
will be a moment where he is thanked.
Oh, so they're going to thank him. So they'll
That's
be
my
like, hey,
understanding.
Mikal, thanks for that year and a half you were here.
Yeah,
and you
I
proved
think
you
that's-
couldn't be a one.
I actually think that's the script. Yeah. That's
All
the
right.
exact
You
script.
know what? I feel better about that. Give us a chance to boo or cheer him, but no tribute video. Well,
That's my understanding. Now watch them roll one out at the start of the second quarter. My sense is no.
And you agree with that, right?
I do.
What's the good criteria for a tribute video? What do you have
Like
to
a
have
year and a
accomplished?
half? Is
Yeah.
that enough?
No,
They didn't win anything.
Sense. It just makes no sense.
By the way, I was good, believe it or not. I don't know if you care my opinion on this.
I do care.
I was good with Durant getting a video.
Yes.
I was, because you know what? I know it ended badly. I wish he didn't ask out. He was freaking amazing when he was here.
He might come back in free agency.
But you're not
Go
the first
figure.
to say that.
No, he might.
He's going to need to the way the
He
Suns
might.
have been.
He talks in a way in which I think he wants to get back together with us.
Well, part of it is also, we've talked about this multiple times, Evan. Who owns him? As a fan base.
Yeah.
Who owns him?
He liked it here.
And this was the place he wanted. I think maybe the only place he really wanted to go
He
to.
wanted to come here, and unfortunately, that whole first year post-COVID, where you never got the real feel of
you
what
never
this
felt
could
it.
be,
Right.
other than the playoff series against Milwaukee. I think he did miss out on that, and then obviously the team fractured and everything fell apart.
Fair or not, I know you didn't say anything. That vibe and the way you just said that means Kevin Durant will be in it again.
Is this an Evan Turner situation all over again?
Nets Daily, run with that story. Ian Eagle says Durant's coming back. Ian, thank you very much.